Please, the show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Peace and blessings, my family. Welcome back to another brainstorming session. I'm just so blessed to, just continue on going with you guys, connecting with you guys. I am your chief growth strategist, Delano, and of course, we're here for another reason. We're here for just one reason. That's to master our business. Because at the end of the day, running the business alone, it's not a badge of honor, man. We're getting away from the hustle culture. We want to make sure that we build it, long term at the end of the day. So, building alone, that's just a recipe for breakdown. I've came across so many different beautiful people that just, burnt out, at the end of the day. So that's what we're here for, man, to keep you guys from burning out, keep you guys motivated, inspired. Make sure that, just to continue on dropping gems at the end of the day. So, of course, we got another special guest for you guys to drop some gems. But before we dive in, you already know I have to shout out all of our members, all of our mentors, all of our advisors. And, of course, shout out everybody in our Discord community, man. We've been, definitely growing. It's been a great platform to, share knowledge, share, drop some gems behind the scenes. So if you're not in the Discord just yet, make sure you guys, scan the barcode on the screen and hop right in. Definitely introduce yourself, drop your website, drop your social media sites, and make sure you guys, just come with your notebooks, man, because we dropping so many gems. Or after the live, if you can't scan the barcode after the live, make sure you guys click that link in our bio. And it'll bring you right into our community, right into our Discord server. We would love to have you, man, at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, connecting the dots, connecting with like-minded individuals. And that's what the mob is about, man. So if you've been rocking with us these last few years, man, welcome back. You guys already know, how we like to do it. Make sure you guys blow up that chat. I want to see you guys type ready in the chat if you're ready for another brainstorming session, if you're ready for some more jewels. And make sure you guys, have your notebooks ready. And make sure you guys have your questions, ready as well. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure you guys drop them in the chat. We'll be sure a little later in the live stream to, bring up some questions from you guys. Or if you don't even have any questions until afterwards, that's another reason why you guys should join the Discord. So you can drop your questions in the Discord, and we'll be, we want to make sure that we're touching bases with every single one of you guys. So, without further ado, I would love to bring on our special guest, Miss B. Parker. What's going on? What's going on, Queen? What's going on? Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Peace and blessings. I appreciate you. I look at you, got the yellow on, got the gold on. Okay, you matching this. So for those who's under a rock, who don't know, let the people know who you are and what it is that you do.
Hi, my name is Brittani B. Parker. I am the president owner of B. Stokes Styling. I am a master cosmetologist, but at B. Stokes Styling, I offer medical wigs to people suffering from alopecia, chemotherapy, or any type of medical hair related hair loss. And I also am a beauty educator. I spend majority of my time on the internet educating, whether it's makeup, hair, the things that are going on in the Black community that we can kind of learn about together as far as in the beauty industry. And that's really just my passion, education. Being a forever student and a forever educator is really my passion.
Yes. I always say, once you stop learning, you're dead, and that's really what it's all about, to continue on learning as much as possible. I try to learn something new every single day. That's what it's all about. So speaking of that, I want to jump right into it. I really want to talk about the how, because everybody, we in the social media era, we're showing what we're doing. We're showing the success. We're showing, all of the glitz and glam. But we really, most of us really never show the how. We really never go into the how. For somebody that's watching who's really stuck in that hustle phase, what's the first system they need to install to really move like a mobile?
The first thing I would say that you need to do, especially in 2026, is figure out what AI platform you could use to help you first. I know a lot of people are nervous about AI, don't really understand it, and also we have the environmental impacts as well. But the thing about it is AI isn't going anywhere, and I am a solo entrepreneur. If I can find some way to use AI to make my job a little bit easier, that's the way to go. So I would definitely say find your AI platform.
Whew. Hey, you really touched on something. Of course, I'm an AI expert. I'm an AI advocate. I think this is the best time to, be an entrepreneur with all the AI tools available to us. It's definitely a great time to, utilize it. But I do talk to a lot of business owners and, just a lot of people in general that's just terrified of AI. They really don't understand it. You hear all the negative stigma, behind it, about it, about us losing jobs and things like that. But we really never talk about all of the, jobs that it's going to create as well. Of course, we have to evolve as people. What's one or some of your favorite AI tools that you're using right now?
Of course, Chat GPT is going to be very helpful with planning, strategizing, setting up maybe your SOPs for your business, grant writing. I've used it for grant writing. Another one that I really enjoy is Perplexity AI, and I like Perplexity even more than Chat GPT because Perplexity give sometimes Chat GPT can be wrong, you know whereas Perplexity gives you resources. So if it gives you an answer for whatever your question is, whatever your inquiry is, it's going to give you three supporting websites so that you can do your own research. So if you are looking to do some type of more research things, I would definitely say Perplexity. And then my all-time favorite that really streamlines some of my social media processes is called, I've been with them for so long, they changed their name. The original name was Video AI, but it's now called QSO AI. And that AI is, to me, a game changer for business owners specifically. Not every business owner wants to be a social media influencer. Not every business owner wants to be a content creator, but the fact of the matter is we are living in a digital world and you need to have that presence online. And QSO AI is one of my favorites because it allows you to take one piece of content and repurpose it around different channels in different ways, and it just makes things easier.
Let's go. Let's go. Those some big gems right there. I just love that you have, multiple AI tools that you're using. I think, it's super important. Like I said, if you have any type of business, type of project that you're working on, hey, work smarter, not harder. Hey, man, utilize these tools. We've built a database of probably over 114 AI tools, and we're still going. It's rapidly growing and evolving. Like I said, with video, I was using video before, it changed its name. And when I went back, I'm like, oh, and it's a lot of AI tools, that's doing that. These big companies are either buying them out and bringing them, incorporating them into what they're already doing. And then, it's just a whole race right now. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the advancement. I'm loving, the competitive, the competitive energy when it comes to these companies. And, it just makes them get better at the end of the day. I actually been, moving away from ChatGPT myself and more so using Gemini. Gemini is my best friend. I'll probably talk to her every single day. And, I think, it's just, I think Claude is another great one when it comes to deep diving, into information and, research and stuff like that. Man, I could go all day when it comes to AI. So yeah, maybe I'll drop maybe I'll drop our database of AI tools in the Discord, you guys, for you guys to kind of go through and see what AI tools work for you guys. So make sure you guys join the Discord as soon as possible. Speaking of community as well, make sure you guys scan that barcode at the bottom of the screen. If you just want to know what gaps you have in your business, we will, it'll actually take you to our free business funding readiness audit, and we'll audit your business for free. We'll set up a call and figure out, what gaps you have in your business, and how to fill them at the end of the day. It goes back to that community. It goes back to that village. It goes back to just being prepared and having those tools and having access to resources. So make sure you guys take advantage of our free audit, you guys, for sure. And if you can't scan the barcode, it's also in the link in our bio as well on all platforms. So, real quick, is a specific moment you realize your business needed better infrastructure, and if so, or was it a moment, and if so, what was the first thing you fixed?
Um, well, I started my company in 2017 in North Carolina, and my goal at that time was strictly just to sell my wigs to cancer patients and people, like I said, suffering from medical hair loss. And it wasn't until 2021 I had my first son, and I realized that I felt like I was burning the candle on both ends. There was just I'm spinning around trying to get clients to buy these wigs, but I'm also trying to create social media content and create a presence online, and it wasn't connecting. I couldn't figure out like why is there no synergy in this. So it was in 2020, I think 22, where I decided that I have to work smarter, like you said, work smarter and not harder. And it was during that time where I decided I have to create a very clear brand voice. Um, and I had to be clear in who it was that I was talking to. Who am I trying to attract? And that might change depending on the product that I'm selling or the platform that I'm posting on. But I need to have a clear understanding either way. If I'm on Facebook, I am selling to, the millennial Gen Xers who are looking for hair loss wigs. If I'm on TikTok, I am selling to what's the babies, the Gen Zs who they just want to be cute and fashionable. And so that's a different vibe. That's a different tone. And that was when I decided, like, really, that was the shift that was like, okay, I know how to talk to who I'm looking for.
It's super important. I mean, man, that's a huge one. And that was something that I really had a struggle with. When I first started consulting brands, and really trying to get them to understand who their target audience is. Because when we first get into business, we want to make money, right? We want to sell to everybody, any and everybody, right? But it just another recipe for burnout at the end of the day. I think it's one is more smarter to really find a niche, but it also unless you have millions of dollars to put into marketing where you can kind of touch on everything, it's just a lot easier to really just niche down, and talk, and really find your target audience, talk directly to people. 'Cause I think even another time now, you really have to connect. I like to call it your digital real estate. You really have to build a foundation, build a community within your digital real estate as well. So I think that's the only way. You got to connect with the people directly. So you hit it right on the head. I think that's a great gem. If you want to live with us, man, make sure you guys throw some fire signs in the chat, man. We already dropping some gems. Also, make sure you guys check out one of our newest ebooks, Business Credit Ain't Scary, the guide to getting the bag legally. I know a lot of you guys have bad stigmas when it comes to business credit and just personal credit, and I was one of those ones. Everybody around me had horrible credit and there was in debt. I really didn't understand the difference between good and bad debt. So make sure you guys get that ebook. It's really a real roadmap to help you guys really understand how to utilize credit, and how to build your business credit without all the crazy jargon. We getting straight to the point. We speaking in a language that anybody can pretty much understand. And our goal this year to help you guys, and just expand. This year I always saying to our team, if we can get 10 new businesses funded this year, and we won. So make sure you guys check that out. Um, Real quick, let's talk about finance real quick. What was your stigma based around credit? Coming up and either personal or business credit.
For me growing up, I did not know anything about credit. My mother is a single mom who, as far as she told me, you get a credit card, you're going to be in debt. There was no strategic use of credit. There was no understanding, how you can use your credit to how you can use certain credit cards to just make your credit score better. I had no idea. So I get into college, Discover comes to the campus. They give you this $500 credit card. Hey, I'm running it up. I'll pay it off when the refund check come, whatever. Um, so of course, in my early 20s, I made the mistakes that we made because I had no understanding. Then by the time I hit my late 20s, I realized the benefits of using your credit, having good credit utilization, paying it off at the end of the month, and it took a few years for me to kind of build myself back up, but I've been able to use the practices that I've got from my personal credit, and now I'm building my business credit.
Hey, I was in the same boat. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 30, because I was so terrified, to even touch a credit card, because all of the things, it's a trap. It's really built for you to fall into that trap and run it up real quick, and and that's how they make money, off of interest and off you not paying off your credit cards and different things like that. So man, it's really a stigma, especially within our community, in our city. That's really all we know is bad. It is bad debt, right? We don't really understand the difference between good and bad debt, and that's okay. We changing these things. We breaking these
And
generations.
that's what you're doing now. You're
Yeah,
breaking that
yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. So
barrier.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So we focus on low risk positioning to get businesses bankable. From your seat, what's the one high risk mistake you see entrepreneurs making that keeps them from scaling?
It's not looking for outside funding. There's only so much that you can finance yourself. Again, I started in 2017. It took me until 2021 to really start pushing for outside funding, and that there's only so much you can do if you really want to scale and grow your business. You're going to have to. If you don't want to go into credit, if you're still kind of nervous about credit, the first entry to getting some outside funding are grants. There are dozens of grants a month that people are looking to go to. A platform that I love to use to help me find grants is Hello Skip. They have tons of them listed there, signing up for people's newsletters. And it might seem tedious. I promise you, I probably did 50 grant applications before I got that first grant, but it doesn't matter. It's free money. So if all I have to do is, and one thing about a grant and the grant applications that I love is it makes you become specific about your business. It helps you strategize a little bit more because they're asking you, well, what are you going to do with these funds? Now you have to sit with yourself and say, if they gave me $5,000 today, how am I going to flip it?
Whoo, hey, you heard her. And we've been talking about Skip, man, for probably the last 2 years. We've helped a few of our members get through Skip. So shout out to them. They've been doing some great things for just the community, at large. If you need, if you need to tap in with them, we actually have a link right on our website under our resource center that'll take you directly to their website, and it'll prompt you to build a profile. So make sure you guys check that out. And look into some other things within your community as well. Shout out to our grant writer Tracy. We've been, we actually got a few more. She's our main beast. She be on it, and she actually worked at one time for the federal government, so she know exactly what to look for, how to go about it. Reach out to your community as well. Who were you before you was a business owner? You may know some people that can plug you in with other resources, because at the end of the day, it's not all about going to the bank and getting a loan. Most of the time banks don't want to fund your dream, especially if you're a new business owner. So it's so many other ways to get that capital. And I'm so glad you touched on the grants. Um, and just getting back into the community, crowdfunding is another one. And getting and I can't stress this enough, making sure that you have a proper structure so you can be qualified for a lot of these different opportunities. I talk to a lot of angel investors as well, and the first thing I ask them, what do you look for when it's time for you to invest in something? And they're looking into who are you? How much have you invested, whether it's time or money. Have you invested enough time to really structure your business right, to do the research, to figure out how much money that you even need? And this is something that should be in your business plan, as well. So speaking of business plans, I always ask, right, what how often should a business owner update or revamp their business?
Um, I think it definitely depends on the business. For me, I try to go through and update my business plan at least yearly because at the top of the year, I am, planning for instance, this year is the year that I'm launching my first hair care product. So that strategy is going to be completely different than when I was just, looking to go to insurance companies for wigs. So I would say at minimum yearly, but anytime that you're creating a new offering that's going to require a new skill set, a new strategy, go ahead and adapt that into your business plan just so that you kind of have like, what is it? Like you can use your business plan as your North Star.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then I think it's bit, it's different for everybody. It's different for. I think it's different for different industries. I always say, quarterly, because life change. Your business model might not even change, but the life around you, things may change in the community that you may have to, kind of adjust to. I think the pandemic was the prime example. A lot of people had to reorganize and have to adapt. Especially if you was in business before the pandemic, you really had to sit down and go back to the drawing board. And I think that was good for us. It's pros and cons and everything. And I've seen a lot of people come out successful. And now we post pandemic. In a whole new millennium, life has changed 360. When it comes to just being a regular person, especially when it comes to being a business owner. So I love it. If you're on live with us right now, make sure you guys blow up that chat, like, share, and subscribe to live. And share it with a fellow business owner, somebody who may be, thinking about starting a business or who may already have an established business. You just never know, man, who just, who could actually utilize some of these gems. There might be somebody right now at the drawing board trying to figure it out. I used to be one of those people just trying to figure it out by myself. And, I bump my head a lot of times. So now, we don't have to figure it out by ourselves no more. We got a whole community. You guys got the mob. And we got your back. We got your back. We got your back. So real quick, what is the biggest lie people tell in your industry? Whether it's that they're telling entrepreneurs or just telling the community in general.
Let's see. The biggest lie. I think the biggest lie would be that you have to be on every social media platform. Um, I think that's a lie. You do want to have a very strong social media presence, but you do not have to be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and keep naming them because they keep popping up every other day. I would say the best strategy is to find your first core audience. So again, for instance, for me, I sell medical wigs to typically Gen X, older millennials. Those people are going to be on Facebook. It would not do me well to go to Twitter or whatever X or whatever it's called now and think that I'm going to, create a buzz, get the reach that I really want. So I'm going to hone in heavy on Facebook. Now, once I have a system created, which I use again my QSO AI to create a system, so I know I plan when I'm going to post. I schedule it already. Now that I have that situated, now maybe I can add Instagram or now maybe I can add Pinterest. But you do not go all in on one until you have like a system and then expand to whatever would be the next best platform for your audience.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good, and it's actually, I had to reflect on myself. This is something that I had to really realize. because I was really one of the ones that, I'm all about digital real estate, right? And, we just felt like we had to have all the real estate on every platform. But it's just another recipe for burnout. Again, it goes back to, burning yourself out, especially if you don't have the team. Right now, of course, now we're blessed to have, amazing social media team. But before, and even now, even with our team, we're niching down. We've really been heavier on LinkedIn and YouTube shorts lately. Because it's just all about that target audience. Who was and of course our audience is moguls. Business owners. People that actually want to build something at the end of the day. It's not but back when I published magazines, of course our target audience was a little different. People that was into entertainment. That wanted we wanted to advertise to people who was into beauty, healthcare, different things like that. That we was the people, the brands that we was actually advertising in our magazine. When I was in the music business, that was a whole nother audience. Whereas the people that's into music, or into live performances and different things like that. So I think as I went through, different phases, in my life, our target audience has definitely changed. And so I would definitely agree with that. Pick your platform, but it goes back to figuring out who your target audience is, who are you speaking to, and where are they, collecting information and getting information at the end of the day. So I love that you hit that right on the head for sure. So, you're clearly an authority in your industry, but I found, throughout my time as an entrepreneur, that even the best experts often have parts in their own business that they still rely too much on. So I'm curious, what is the most friction showing up for you right now?
Um, for me in my business now, I did a lot of word of mouth and organic climbing through social media and things like that. So it's been the past year and a half or so that as a business I've been focusing on ad run, whether that's Facebook ads or Google ads. And it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve because sometimes an ad will get a view, but an ad's not going to turn into a click. So, what is it that I can do to take this ad, not just from you looking at it, to you now being interested in what I'm talking about, to now you giving me your email so that I can, continue to prime you until you become a customer. So, really trying to like clarify my ad strategy is kind of what is the biggest thing I'm working on right now.
No, I think you're not the only one that I talk to about that. The sponsored ads can get a little tricky. That's a whole beast in itself. So we have and thank God again for our social media team. And really with us, it depends on your industry as well. We don't really do a lot of sponsored ads because most of our clients and most of our members come from word of mouth, which is super important. It's still strong. A lot of people sleep on that word of mouth. Like you said, you really been focusing on the organic side of it, which is I think it's taking over. But the sponsored ads, especially if you have a tangible product, it's definitely important for you to expand your reach. At the end of the day, because the algorithm is changing every single day. So to keep up with that, I think it's super important to kind of utilize some of those tools. Especially if you're on these social media platforms, and that goes back to focusing on one platform too, because you don't want to advertising can be different on each platform as well. So I would say I tell my people, that's out there doing sponsored ads, master one platform first, and especially with them ads. Unless you, like I said, unless you got millions of dollars to put
Yeah,
to advertise,
got money to blow.
then hey, that's where it's at. So real quick, I pulled a
Mhm.
question that we have for my Discord, and it's something that they've asked before, um, but I kind of want to kind of touch back on that real quick. Um, and that user said, "I'm making sales when I'm exhausted, and I'm handling DMs, fulfillment. and my own tech. How do I know when it's time to move from the blueprint stage to actually scaling?
You will know when you are losing money. Like when you physically having to be the person that maybe you do all the graphics and you actually provide the product and you do the fulfillment and doing all of this is now taking away from what actually makes you money, then something needs to change. You need to add sorry, I lost my whole thought, but you might need to add an employee, you might need to add a new resource, you might need to do something that will alleviate whatever it is that's holding you back from being able to fulfill like your fullest potential. For instance, as a cosmetologist, there's a cap to how much money you can make behind the chair. There's just a cap. And so if I am being burnt out and I'm booked from 8 to 5 and I'm burnt out, something has to change. Now I have to up my prices so that I can work less time but for more money. So it's when you start realizing that me doing this the way that I'm doing this is making me lose money, it's gonna make you find a more creative way to make that money up.
Hey, that's the biggest sign. Especially we don't nobody like losing money at the end of the day. I always say, if your business stop moving the moment you take a nap, you don't have a business. You have a high stress job, right? Most of us, we get into the entrepreneur lane and think, I'm not working for anybody, but you're working harder, and most of us is, most of us get it in, most of us grew up in the hustle culture. I did too. So, we was taught that, hey, the harder you hustle, the more successful you are. But at the end of the day, you're gonna reach that point where you burn out. You're gonna reach that. You're gonna hit that bottleneck. Stage. And it really stunts your growth at the end of the day. It's not a badge of honor at the end of the day. So we have to get away. We killing the hustle culture. I remember we used to wear merch and belt buckles that said hustle on them. We killing the hustle culture. We're more moving into
Your age.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, the light up belt buckles. Yeah, all of that. But and I was definitely one of the ones that was tucking my shirt behind the belt buckle, and so people I was hustling for sure. But we getting away from that. We're in the whole new millennium. It's all about scaling. You want to become the actual owner, instead of the employee, at the end of the day. So, hey, that's what it's all about. So with our brainstorming session, it's not just about watching content. We're not just creating content. We're not just going live just to go live. We want to make sure that everybody is actually taking action, right? So what's one move our audience needs to complete in the next 24 hours to see results?
I would say your mogul move would be to identify what your AI platform is going to be and to start utilizing it. So if your AI platform is going to be Gemini, go in there, start tinkering around, figuring out training your AI model because that's essentially all it is. You have to train it to have your voice, to have the care that you have for your clients, to brand to be branded all the way through. So I would say pick whatever your AI model may be and go in today and start training it.
Whew. Hey, y'all heard it right here. I heard it right here. Make sure you guys write that down. And if you haven't, written anything down yet, you can always go back on the recaps. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my TV, and make sure you guys go back on these recaps. Dropping so many gems every single brainstorming session. And I know it can get overwhelming for you guys. So make sure you guys definitely jot down an assignment. And I would love to see what you guys come up with. Again, I say this every single session. These assignments are not for us. This is for you at the end of the day. So this is something that you guys should be doing anyway. But I would love to see the results. I would love to see if you guys is actually doing these assignments. So drop some of your results in the Discord. And let's start a convo. I would love to see what AI tools you guys come across, and and you said one thing is super key: training your AI. I know a lot of people is using ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude. It's super important for you guys to learn how to prompt, how to train your AI, and customize it. It's learning from you. It's a brain at the end of the day. So you have to exercise it. One assignment that I would leave for you guys already know. Make sure you guys complete those audits. If you just want to know, it don't matter if you've been in business for 20 plus years. If you want to know exactly where you're at, make sure you guys take our free business funding readiness audit. You can scan the barcode right on the screen, or you can click the bio. It's super important, man, for us to continue on expanding, growing, learning new things, and it's always something that you can improve on. That's something that I've been really been seeing. I mean, just this week we've probably audited 10 businesses, and half of those businesses been in, half of those business owners been in business for years. We found something on every single one of those audits. We found the gap in every single one of those audits. Nobody came back with 100. Um, of course, we had some high scores, we had some 85s in there, stuff like that. But hey, it's always something that you can really tighten up on. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Take advantage of that tool. This is for free. Let's set up a phone so you can figure out, not only figure out those gaps, but how can we close those gaps at the end of the day. Um, and again, speaking of, village, make sure you guys join our Discord as well. We have a lot of great moguls in there, a lot of great entrepreneurs that's doing their thing. We got a lot of information, a lot of gems that we share in our resource vault. And that's what it's all about, man. Unity, village, community at the end of the day. So make sure you guys check that out. Take advantage of our free server. Also, make sure you guys check out Business Credit Ain't Scary, the guide to get in the bag legally. Man, we created a whole roadmap for you guys. When I tell you it's no excuses, we have no more excuses in 2026, you guys. We have all the resources right here in front of you guys. So make sure you guys take advantage. I can't stress that enough. A lot of us just need, sometimes all we need is that motivation and inspiration and a little information at the end of the day. All right, my family, we just spent a lot of time dropping a lot of gems, and I just, again, I want to thank you, Ms. B. Parker, for just coming on and just taking out the time out your busy schedule to drop these gems with our community and, being vulnerable. That's what it's all about, showing the inside. I love to show people, I love to show our community, people that's actually out here, strapping on their boots. Because, one thing I tell people automatically, this thing is hard. It's hard being an entrepreneur. It's not easy. I know we're in the social media era where everybody, showing their best self and the success. It's hard. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. So, keep that in mind. It's not for everybody, and it's okay. At the end of the day, we're not only building business owners, but we're always, we're also creating jobs as well. So, of course, some of these motives, we need some great people to support these companies and get on the team as well. So, even if it's not, even if entrepreneurship is not for you, figure out a way that you can support your local entrepreneur. Because there's so many ways, there's so many things out here that we can, really get into, and that's what it's all about. So, at the end of the day, just to keep it real, information without execution is just a hobby. So make sure you guys take these notes, and run this live stream back. Go check out some of our other brainstorming sessions at the end of the day, and put some action behind it. Don't just take this information and keep it moving. Put some action behind it. I love bragging on my community, so share some of your success stories with us as well. At the end of the day, and continue on being great. Again, make sure you guys join our Discord. Make sure you guys take advantage of our free business funding readiness audit, and also make sure you guys just continue on being great. Like I always say, stop being a spectator and start being a mogul, you guys. So continue on being great. Until next time. Real quick, Miss B, can you actually let the people know where they can find you, and then give the the mob community a big shout out?
Yes, yes. Well, you can find me at here it is, B Stokes Styling across all platforms. I know I said pick your platform, but I've been doing this for a while. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy, YouTube. YouTube is my main one. So B Stokes Styling. If you search B Stokes Styling, you're going to find me. And shout out to the mob for having me today. And I am not just giving y'all an assignment. I'm doing something as well. I'm going to take the replay of this and put it in my AI. And guess what? You will see clips of this live stream on all of those social medias I just told you about.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. That's what I love to talk about. That's what I love to hear, man. We putting action behind the words. That's what it's all about. Really bringing together the community, connecting the dots. So again, my family, let's continue on building, man. I want to see you guys be great. And until next time, man, continue on being blessed.